Sunday of November. And every fifth Sunday since we have been established as a church, we've asked one in that of the female gender role to stand before God's people, but not come before God's people with that not of the gift of teaching, without that of preparation. And so this morning we will not do nothing different, but allow that same to happen. So today, the lot has fell on someone who you all know, who is very familiar, but this will be her debut for a Sunday morning worship, and that of Sister Kelsea Stone. She will be bringing the message this morning.
Good morning. What a privilege it is to stand behind this sacred desk and to be used by God on just one more time. To my father and my father in the ministry, thank you for pouring into me and allowing me to watch you walk your walk when you didn't even know I was even watching. To his right hand, who so happens to be my best friend, thank you for pouring into him so he can pour into others. And to all the clergy under this amazing leadership, Pastor Tatum, Minister Alfred in her absence, and Minister Ards, and to you, my brothers and sisters in Christ. It's a good day. David declares in Psalm 34, 1 verses 3, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praises shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her voice in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. My favorite one, oh, magnify the Lord with me. Y'all, I'm sorry, not by myself. Oh, magnify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. Okay. Over the past couple of Sundays, there have been messages preached about Thanksgiving by Pastor Stone. The first one, the whys of Thanksgiving, the what's of Thanksgiving, and the hows of Thanksgiving. But there's one major thing that we should be thankful for. What is it? You're asking me really good questions this morning. To find out, let's open our Bibles to Psalm 46, verses 1 to 3. You will find these precious refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. You may be seated. For the time we have to share together on this Sunday morning, let's think on this thought: God's powerful presence in the present. Psalm 46 carries a promise about who God is. It shows a God who protects, who covers, and who stays present even when our whole life is falling apart. And the truth is, we can only experience the goodness of God because of the Son who he sent down to us. John 14, verses 6 tells us that Jesus is the only way to the Father. That means access to God's protection, God's presence, and God's peace only comes through the Son. So when we read God is our refuge and our strength, it's not something that we can admire from a distance. It's personal to us. It's personal to me. It belongs to those that believe, and that changes everything. Without Jesus, we would only know about a God. We would never be able to actually experience him. We don't just hear stories about his protection, we are lived under it. We don't just hear about his strength, we are held up by it. We don't just believe that he is present, but we feel him in every single season, every emotion, and every moment when we cannot lift up ourselves. God is our strength. Jesus gives us the kind of access to the relationship where God is not the God of the universe, but a God who is close, God who is near, and God who cares. God who steps into the middle of our disasters when we are broken down and says, I am with you. So the promise in Psalm 46 is not a theory, it is not a maybe, it is not for a special people only club. It is for anyone who's in Christ, anyone who calls on the name, anyone who trusts him enough to say, Lord, I am not strong enough. I need you to be my strength. I need you to be my refuge. And that brings me to my first point. If God gives us access to the Father, then the first thing we receive under God is a place to run, a place to rest, a place to be covered, as God is our shelter. Now, when you think of shelter, you think of something man made, a house, a job, a relationship. But man made shelters are very fragile. They collapse under pressure. They fall apart when life shakes. And if we want to be honest, some of us have trusted in shelters that looked strong. But the moment life started to life, we realized they were not made as strong as we thought they were. When we lean on something man made, anything we build without God will eventually fail. With the presence in the presence, why should we know God as a shelter? Listen, Psalm 46 doesn't describe the small storms in life or everyday inconveniences. The writer is not talking about waking up and having a bad hair day. No, Psalm 46 literally describes the world falling apart on every single level. It says earth is giving way, mountains being moved into the heart of the sea, waters roaring and foaming, nations raging, kingdoms crumbling. Sounds like to me this is the language of total collapse, emotional collapse, spiritual collapse, physical collapse, political collapse, and mental collapse. It is a picture of life at its most chaotic state, where everything that is familiar is shaking and is shaky. And right in the middle of chaos, the author has confidence to say, God is our refuge and strength, an ever present help in trouble. So, when God's, in Kelsey's words, when everything around me is breaking, God is not. When the world is shaking, he is not moved. When everything built by human hands crumbling, God still stands. When trouble is close by, God is still God. Let's be honest, some of us have been living in temporary shelters, places that never meant to make us feel safe for a long time, only safe for a season. We have overdue our stay. It's time for some of us to get out and go to the real shelter. But God is not a temporary shelter. He is not a shelter that you go and check into when you want to. He is the unshakable refuge, the ever present help, the one who stands when everything else falls. And if the whole world falls apart tomorrow, the truth of Psalm 46 remains the same. God is our refuge, a promise, a shelter that can withstand anything. And in his presence, with his presence, God is our strength during hard times. If God is the refuge that reminds us of our shelter, then he is the strength and he has all the power. Can we be honest today, just for a little bit? Some of us have been trying to run on strength we don't even have anymore. Let me say it again. Some of us have been running on strength we do not even have anymore. We've been pushing, forcing, pretending, smiling through it all, acting like we're okay, but our human strength runs out daily. We talk a lot about needing God as a shelter, But not so much is it easy to say that we need God as our strength because we think weakness makes us less of a Christian. That's not true. Psalm 46 says God is our strength. Not God gives strength sometimes, but God Himself is the strength. Strength is not a mindset, strength is not a motivation, strength is not a personality trait. Strength simply is God. So when it's God's strength, it's completely different. It's the strength that keeps us standing when we should have fallen apart. It's the strength that gets us out of bed when we feel empty. It's the strength that holds our emotions when our heart feels too heavy. It's the strength that pushes us forward when everything else is pulling us back. I have been trying to operate off of yesterday's strength, last month's strength, last year's strength, or even my own strength. And that's exactly why most of us are drained. We're running on something that was never meant to sustain us. Now, here's the part I love about it. God does not wait until we feel strong to strengthen us. Say that went over some of y'all heads. He doesn't wait until we're strong again for Him to give us strength or for Him to be strength. He meets us right in the middle of our weakness. Whenever we feel weak at night, when we feel like we cannot make it another day, God steps in at that moment, not in the morning, right there, exactly where we are to meet us with His strength. Real strength is not about put together we are on Sunday mornings. Real strength is about who is holding us together when no one else is watching. Let's stop trying to walk, run, climb, and fight in our own power. God is saying, if we would just stop trying to do everything by ourselves, He will show us strength we never knew that we even had. But when we lose that God has the strength, He comes back, He gives us personal assistance. If He is the refuge in our strength, then support is what God gives us in the middle of everything that's falling apart. God is our support. And support is something that most people don't like to ask for, and I know because I don't. But asking for support makes us admit that we cannot do life solo or it's too much for us to carry. But God never designed for us to carry everything by ourselves. He never called us to hold our emotions, our responsibilities, our fears and expectations with our own two hands because we cannot do it. Psalm 46 paints it perfectly. God is present in trouble, not distant, not silent. Present means holding us down when everything else falls. Support doesn't always look like God is removing the storms. Sometimes support looks like God holding us steady through the storm. It's His presence being very present. God operates through His presence on time. Being support is that of an every present help. It's God sending people at the right moment, at the right time. It's God strengthening our thoughts when we feel weak in our mind. It's God giving us peace when our heart is racing. It's God reminding us we are not alone, even when we feel like we are. God's support is not passive, it's active, it's intentional, it's personal. And some of us don't feel like God's support because we're still trying to do everything by ourselves. We're holding everything with clenched fists and wondering why we feel crushed. We can't feel supported when we're carrying what God told us to release. When God supports us, we don't have to fake being strong. It's not a battle. We don't have to pretend like we're okay. We don't have to handle everything on our own. We are allowed to rest in the fact that God holds the whole world together and is holding us too. And here is what hit me really hard during my study. Support is not God doing everything for us, it's God doing everything with us. He walks with us in every situation, He sits with us in every emotion, He stands with us in every battle. He covers us, He lifts us as He supports us. So, if refuge is where God supports us and strength is where God empowers us, then support is where God sustains us every single day. Connect to the presence in His present. We don't have to be afraid because God is not over us. He's beside us, He's behind us, He's beneath us, He's surrounding us, He is our support system. And with a God just like that, we are never unsupported. So here's what I want us to remember today. Psalm 46 is not a chapter that avoids reality. It is not pretend life or little games that we play all the time. It's not pretending that on God's side it's peaceful, but it is telling us that He will give us peace through our storms. It speaks about true chaos and the pressures of life, shaking and fear, and even in all of that, it gives us a picture of who God is to His people. He is our shelter, He is our strength, He is our support. And because of Jesus, we get to experience every single part of that. There will be moments when life shakes. There will be days when you feel weak. There will be seasons when things you used to depend on are falling apart. But never seek to face anything alone. We have a God who covers us, who carries us, who holds us together when everything is falling apart. So if anyone walked in here today feeling overwhelmed, tired, unsure of what is next, listen to these next couple of words. You do not have to be strong enough. You don't have to pretend that everything is okay by yourself. You don't have to pretend that you are okay. You have to settle in the presence of God, who says, "Be still and know." Through all of the mountains, through all of the pressures of life, just be still and rest in Him. Let that be your confidence. Let that be your reminder that no matter what shakes around you, your foundation in Him will not move. God is with us, God is for us, and He will carry us through. He has a powerful presence in the present through the present. Thank you.